Hello everybody, welcome to today's Karlton Says Live. Now our live broadcast got a little cut off while we were broadcasting live during the recording, so you guys can definitely still tune in as we are discussing the issue of parents leaving kids in hot cars. So join me, Ariel Cheese, and Renetta DuBose as we are discussing this very pressing issue.
For parenting, it just kind of happens to them, and so, I'm not saying whether this case or any of the other cases are planned or not, and that's very sad. I think there are other options that you can take, but I think they're not ready to be parents.
Okay. Well, Ariel, you are a parent and you're expecting another one. What's your take on this issue?
I never had a moment where I almost left Ari in the car. I never had one. It never occurred to me. I just knew that if he was in the car, there was, I'm getting him out of the car. And now it's like, you hear about it so much, and it's just like, geez, people are saying this is an accident. Did I get him out of the back seat? I'm double checking, behind myself, because I wouldn't want something like that to happen. I think it's happening for people that are maliciously trying to do it. I mean, not everyone is trying to do it with the wrong intent. I do think that Mr. Harris in Cobb County, I do think that he was full of malicious intent. I don't believe that there was an accident. I don't think it was an accidental cause. I don't. But I do think that there are, as a matter of fact, there was a woman whose car got jacked. And she had left her baby in the car because she was running inside.
Wow.
To, pump gas. It was raining and she didn't want the baby was asleep. I know that feeling. I understand that one. But so everybody's not doing it to be malicious, but there are some that are. But those incidents that are happening here, I mean, not everyone is meant to be a parent, first off. But everybody is given reproductive organs. So basically.
And for those people who haven't given birth like myself, pet owners have to be responsible
That's
too.
true.
Well, yeah, that's
That's
how it starts.
That's
yeah,
true.
there are a lot of dogs that are
That's
left
how
in
it
the car.
starts.
And I know with my dog, with Coco Chanel, I have an actual bag, and I take her into the store with me. You will see Coco in my bag in restaurants and stores, because, and I've done a couple news stories on this, if you leave pets in cars, it's not like they get hot. It's almost like putting them in an oven, and they bake from the inside. That's what it feels like for a dog to be inside of the car.
Wow.
Yes, when it's hot.
Wow.
Tortured.
That's crazy. I just think, even being a pet owner, or when you have a child, when you say, "Hey, I'm gonna have this child," then it's no longer about you anymore. Because you have options. I mean, when you decide you're gonna keep this baby for however long you carry it, 9 months or whatever. And once you give birth, you're like, okay, here's my child.
You're responsible.
You're responsible. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I think it's, again, if you didn't want the baby, or you felt like you weren't prepared to have the baby, or you just said, I don't want to be no mom, there's adoption. There's always options, and I think it's just time out for excuses. Yeah, there are legit, you forget things sometimes, and you just you're going. There are mothers who are dealing with postpartum, and they're just dealing with things. But at the same time, it's just, we got to start taking responsibility.
Yeah, that's it. It's responsibility. Right. It's not, we forget things. We forget where our keys are placed.
Right. Yeah, all the time.
Not your children.
Not another life.
Right, right.
But, people are, unfortunately, people are crazy. Everybody is not put together right. Just like we know that killing someone is wrong.
Right.
We know this.
Yeah.
But does that stop people from doing it?
Sure doesn't.
No.
People are killing each other every day.
Unfortunately, it's just, there are some makeups of people that are just going to be freaking crazy and just do something stupid.
Yeah.
And that's just it.
Yeah.
Some people screw over people over and over and over and over and over and over again and never get it. Those are like the women that decided they were going to run into Walmart and steal real quick.
With the kids in the car.
That's
crazy.
But they knew they were coming back.
But now you in jail and your kids elsewhere.
Well, yeah, but clearly you knew you was going to jail.
Maybe they didn't want the kids to see them do wrong. Do as I say, not as I do.
I hate that phrase. I hate that phrase with a passion. Moving forward with something a little bit more lighthearted, reality TV. Of course, we have to talk about reality TV.
Because what would we be without?
Right, exactly. What is our society without reality TV? Well, Apollo Nida 8 years. He got sentenced to 8 years in prison for his white collar crime, stealing from old people, stealing money and sorts. So he got 8 years. Man, that's a long time. And you know, and people are saying, "Oh, Phaedra, are you gonna stay with them? You know, what about the 2 boys? Should you stay on reality TV? Should you stay on Real Housewives of Atlanta, or should you go away and take care of your kids?" What do you guys think about this? I mean, I think this is so unfortunate. I'm thinking about the 2 sons.
Right.
Because 8 years, I don't remember how old the kids are, but they're gonna be like in their, like gonna be 10 or something when he gets out.
Yeah.
If he serves the full
10 or
8 years, you know what I'm saying? So
right.
And I don't think he will. I think that given who his wife is, good behavior, I think he'll probably get out in half that time.
He might. I think there's a chance that he might, but at the same time, he also got out of jail.
Yeah, fresh.
He got out
Not
of
fresh,
jail, and then it's like he got out and he started doing the same thing over and over again, because crimes like this you don't just do them. You know, I'm just gonna do this.
Right.
You know, there's
It's thought out. It's thought out.
So it's like he got out of jail and he said, you know, he let them think that he was rehabilitated, but he wasn't.
He's a repeat offender.
Yeah, exactly. And so repeat offenders don't always get lucky that second time around. Some do.
Yeah. Well, I was watching Wendy Williams, and they said Phaedra wasn't even there for the sentencing. She was in Mexico with Candy and Fantasia.
Is this a sign of how she will be for the rest of his time?
I don't know. I mean, do y'all think
she'll be visiting?
I mean, when you think about it, she
looks like she's over it to me.
She knew him exactly, so she's probably expecting him like, man, you know, like I took a leap of faith in you that you were really going to do right, and well, you had me thinking that you were doing right. You weren't. You were being a crook all over again.
Well, I don't know if you all read the Twitter statements of the woman who pretty much brought this to fruition, but you know, it almost implicated her as well. And so I wonder how much she was involved, how much she knew about this, and maybe she's now trying to distance herself.
Could be
from the situation.
She claims that she didn't. She had nothing to do with it. She knew nothing of it, and she just.
I think Phaedra's pretty smart.
Yeah,
she's very
smart.
And so in that, I think that she has a legal way of making her money. You know what I mean? So I don't think that she really has a reason, unless it's greed, which I well, you know, people deal with that. But I just don't feel like she had a reason to be a part of that. She didn't really have a reason. Is he educated? Like, what's his? Not that you have to be educated to make money by any means at all, but
or to steal it.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Clearly. But it's just kind of like, you know, he doesn't have any honest foundation that you can say that he can use this to make money.
But did you see how she went to bat for him during the show? I mean,
that's her husband.
That's her husband.
Yeah.
She's a ride or die.
She loved her husband
until now.
Right. She's in Mexico right now.
Ride or die until you get caught. And I'm riding away.
But didn't we already discuss this?
When?
I mean, no, I'm just saying.
Okay. I was like, when do we talk about this? If you guys were in this situation, would you stay with your husband if he was going to jail for 8 years? And not for the first time. This is the second time. Would you stay in their marriage or the relationship?
I would, because I'm making a vow to God, and this is my view on marriage. I'm making a vow to God that I'm going to stay with my husband for better or for worse, sickness and in health, until death do us part. Not until you go to jail, until you get really, really sick, until you get really, really fat. No, it's until death. So no matter what that until says a lot, and so I think that if I'm there supporting him, praying with him, hopefully something about me would change him. And maybe I'm praying and a miracle happens and he gets out. But absolutely. Now, relationship, I'm not making any vows to God in a relationship. But if I'm married, yes, I'm there. Now, I don't mean I want the people in jail writing me and trying to marry me. But if it happens.
Wow.
It
Wow.
happens.
Jeez.
I feel like you've done it before. It's almost to me like marrying someone, and yes, you take the vows, but you take a vow not to cheat on someone when you marry. You know, so like when you marry them, you're not supposed to cheat on them. But then you do, and then it's like you wonder how many times am I going to accept something before I
realize
leave?
I need to be like,
You
I'm
know,
done with
so
that.
I feel like it depends on the circumstances. For me to determine whether or not I would stay with my husband if he had to go to jail for that amount of time. It would depend on if it was his first time. It would depend. It would really depend.
If there was marital unfaithfulness, which is something that
it would just depend. Like, if this is your second time going to jail for something that you know better than, like you've already been there before, and now we have children, and I thought that I might try to stick with you for a little while. But I don't know if I'm going to make it to full 8.
That's a long time. 7 is completion, 8 is a new beginning.
It's a long time. So I don't know if I would make it to the full 8.
Does it have conjugal visits? What should be able to do?
T.I. time to try that, and you saw what happened.
Yeah, and it's going to take more than
conjugal visits only get you so much. You're going to really want the real thing eventually, and I don't know. Anyway.
Faithful.
Oh, well, another question. Do you guys think that she should leave the show?
Well, of course not.
Is she still a housewife?
I'm just not saying because she's a housewife. I'm just saying because she's dealing with all this situation. She needs to kind of be there for the boys. Of course, they're going to probably play all this out on Bravo. We know Andy Cohen, how he is. So, of course.
She get a nanny. What?
I think that she should still stay. I don't see there's any reason. She's been doing a good job in maintaining.
Yeah.
And I believe that she knows that she's a parent first, and I think she's got full, interest in taking care of her children. So I think she'll be fine.
And the ratings are going to be high.
Yeah.
Because they're going to tune in to see what she's going to do during this time. So
her storyline changes. It was mentioned before that there were some housewives on the show who the story never changed. It was the same. It was a little boring. Well, this
definitely adds a whole nother spectrum. Yeah, and spin-offish.
Wow, that would be a good spin-off.
How
actually,
she makes it, now without, having her husband. Again, wonderful for her. She's got a foundation. She's skilled in something. She's got a trade. And you know what? And Phaedra is very, very smart because you think about that. She might have said she was ready to maybe retire from being a lawyer a little bit. But so she did what? Mortuary school. She's spending her time learning.
Yeah.
And so that's why I don't think, again, I just, she was...
Spinoff, Real Jail Wife.
Exactly.
Real Jail
Wife. Oh my gosh, not Real
You
Jail
just
Wife.
pitched it. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of reality TV, of course there's all these reality shows, Love and Hip Hop, R&B divas, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of people... You thirsty?
I didn't even say it out loud. I've been thinking, can I take one of these moments when the camera's
Go ahead and take it. Drink the water. Girl. You can.
I got you.
But yeah, with these reality shows and their future in music, you have Stevie J, who's on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, and you have all these R&B divas that are on Atlanta and the LA edition. But a lot of people are saying that these reality shows are hurting their credibility. Like, Stevie J was a hot producer in the 90s. For people who don't know, he was behind a lot of hits, especially with, P. Diddy, Mariah Carey. A lot of people.
Name a hit.
I can't name them. But I'm trying to think, did he do Honey remix or something? I think he did the Honey remix. I'm trying to think. But he was pretty hot. Of course, he was with EVE. They was together at one point. So Stevie J was a hot producer back in the day. But now he's a coon. Because he's sorry.
Ouch.
Truth. It's truth. He's known as the womanizer on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. He's known as Mimi's baby daddy or Jocelyn Hernandez's husband. That's all he's known as now. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people don't remember who he used to be. And I know I just watched the R&B Divas reunion special, and Angie Stone was talking about how she feels like the show's taken away from her credibility because people are trying to put her as a monster or whatever. What do you have?
Just to say real quick.
Okay.
He was pretty good. Because it says basically, according to Wikipedia anyway, but he was a leader of the Bad Boy Entertainment Hitman roster of in-house producers and writers during the 90s. So he worked with Puff, and he helped to bring out 112, and we know 112 and where they went.
Nice.
And then it said basically he produced their lead single "Only You."
Okay.
He produced 80% of their debut album, and that album was good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll Be Missing You that they did for the tribute to Puff
for
Daddy.
Biggie,
That was
Biggie,
good.
Yeah.
Mariah Carey.
Yeah, I thought he did.
He was nominated for a Grammy Award for her contribution, her album Butterfly.
Okay.
He produced Honey.
Okay.
Breakdown was a jam with Bone. I love that song.
So the point is that Stevie J definitely did. He was the man back in the day. And again, with these stars that are trying to, I guess, quote unquote, rejuvenate themselves on reality TV, is it working? Like, is it working correctly? I should say. I guess. What say you?
They're not working. Because
obviously not.
You can see the problem is it can go both ways. Reality TV doesn't have to be the downfall of your career.
Definitely doesn't.
It just depends on how you use it. And so,
can I throw this out there with you saying that? For instance, I know we don't have it, but Tamar Braxton, she did come out with a song. She had a album before the show came out. Didn't do that great. But now that she's built this platform on the Braxton family values as I'm Tamar, but when she put out Love and War, her album went skyrocketed. So I personally think that she definitely used reality TV to her advantage. Her popularity on the show and her music career is booming. You know what I'm saying? Like people like Dietrich Haddon, you see him. He's on Preachers of L.A. A lot of people look at him differently now because of his role on the reality show. Because he was a lot. He was a little.
I'm not big on reality TV, but the one person, and I'm gonna probably take this way left field, but Elizabeth Hasselbeck.
Okay.
Yeah, she was on Survivor.
Okay.
Got a seat on The View, and now her career has just.
That's true. She's on Fox and Friends now.
Exactly. So yeah, a lot of people don't know that. They just.
I miss the Survivor.
I'm huge on The View. I didn't really watch her on the Survivor, but when she got on The View, her career has gone far. Reality TV.
Yeah. I think it's all about how you use it. Definitely.
Rupert. Look at him. He's running for governor in Indiana. It does work well for some people. Those are probably success stories.
Yeah.
Versus some folks.
If Stevie J were, showing himself working in the studio and he was really putting together some good stuff, like writing some good stuff, then, it would probably be good for him. But I think that what he's doing right now, I don't think that that's where he is in his life right now.
So why is he producing Jocelyn Hernandez?
Well, I mean that's different. That's because he's not putting that work that he put in this stuff that we called out into her.
True.
His life is distracted right now. So I think that maybe if he were to focus on working, then it would be different. But right now he's just focused on living his life and all the craziness in it, and he's half-ass working, which is what he's doing with
Jocelyn Hernandez.
Right. That's what he's doing with his boo. Yeah, they're doing more playing than working, and they've gotten on the whole we're making money by doing appearances type thing. Now, I know he knows the money ain't the same, but then,
I mean, I'm not mad on them. They make a lot of money when they appear. They go to clubs and different things like that. I just think
he's making the kind of money he used to.
Obviously, but he's making more than I am.
Well, this is very true.
Maybe all of us put together.
Right. But I just think I think it's unfortunate sometimes. People are so gifted and they're so talented, and then they just let their gifts and talents waste away. And just like
talented people tend to be tormented also sometimes.
That's true. That's true.
They come with other special, creative minds tend to be.
I just think because I can only speak for myself. I'm in a position to where I'm trying to move up in my career, and I want to try to move forward. What I'm trying to do, I want to be on national TV, do all this other stuff. And it's unfortunate sometimes when you watch these people and they have these platforms and these opportunities, and they're not using it to their full advantage.
You're young and hungry.
I'm very hungry.
And they're
both.
I think they've grown out of that young and hungry. They were hungry, which is what got them to success, which is why we know them now. And now they're
the money's gone to their head. Is what's happened. And now they're spending it, and they're doing whatever they want to do, however they want to do it, and they don't think that there are any consequences at all. Like the chick with the sex tape.
Mimi.
Really?
Mimi Fox.
Really?
Terrence usually puts a picture up of her on the shower rod, but I guess he doesn't have that. When I tell you, when we talked about that story on this set, Terrence kept putting up the shower rod. I was like, dang, Terrence.
Yeah. It just flashes
I
random.
just think I have money and status, and I can do whatever it is that I want to do, and there won't be any consequences.
Yeah.
We'll all laugh at you and shower rods on Facebook, but in the end, we have no respect for you.
So yeah. So I mean, do you feel like people are no longer like, for instance, let's go back to the musical artists. Do you feel like people aren't really respecting them as musical artists anymore, or is it just?
Well, after you get a look into their lives, you no longer see them with their sew-ins curled up nicely and their outfit looking good. We now see beyond that. We are looking at your life under the microscope, and we may not like what you see because it may not match up to our values. And so it's a risk. But if you're consistent throughout, you're fine. And I think that's a little bit of what Phaedra brought us on Real Housewives of Atlanta. She showed us, a strong Christian woman, even though there were some questions about when she got pregnant, and when she got married. But I think throughout, she was always classy. She always, and that's another thing I like about did you all see the reality show about the women in media? I'm not sure if you saw that one, but most of those women were very classy. You didn't see them grabbing, pulling out weave, and doing anything that, would name them something but the child of God. They were just, I just like it when people show someone who's classy and who has it together, and not someone who's ratchet and ghetto and saying every 4 and 5 letter word that they can think of.
Wow. Well, let's switch gears here because we're gonna go to scripted TV now. We only got like 5 minutes left in the show, but Extant. I'm sorry, I think I'm saying it wrong. Anyway, starring Halle Berry. It premiered this week. It got over 9 million views, which is excellent. It's really good. I didn't see the show. Honest moment. I
didn't know there was a show.
Really?
Called that.
I knew about it. Steven Spielberg is behind it. I knew about it, forgot about it, didn't watch it, and they repeated it yesterday. Forgot about it again, didn't watch it. So I was not a part of the 9 million. However, that is really good for television, and I guess we're starting to see more African American leading ladies on scripted television shows. Of course, you got Kerry Washington on Scandal. You got Gabrielle Union being Mary Jane.
Yes,
there's a new show coming out.
Blackish with Tracy Ross. She's coming back.
Okay, well, that's a comedy. That's I forgot about that. Yeah, that's coming on ABC. Also on ABC, How to Get Away with Murder, starring Viola Davis. So she's gonna be starring in that. Alfred Woodard has a show coming out on CBS. I can't think of the name of the show.
Those old classy women.
Yeah, and I definitely think it's a good look.
It's very good. I don't care what the storyline is. Just to see someone of color on primetime network TV is a huge step in the right direction. I was just reading a HuffPost article yesterday about how Hollywood is still whitewashing characters that are minorities, and just to see people of color and network TV is great, because we argued for so long that we hadn't seen that since the Cosby Show or Freshman. And I mean, in good storylines.
That's true.
Not just
playing the best friend.
Right.
Yeah.
Sidekick. They are giving it to us.
Yeah.
And with these shows that are coming out now, they are, because, for a minute, the only two that we did have were Kerry Washington and Gabrielle Union. And we know how we felt about, the fact of how they were being portrayed. Right. So now, with these other shows that are coming out, and you've got these names that, we've kind of grown up in hearing, at least we know that we're going to get some quality. We're going to get that image back that we aren't seeing in reality TV. So that's going to be, awesome too. Even if it's, it is scripted and not reality, at least it gives you something to look at that's positive as a black woman.
I think it's the main thing that we have to do is that we have to support. I know I didn't watch Extant. I apologize.
I didn't even know it was coming.
I'm so sorry. I should have watched it. But I just think, if we want to see more of us like that on TV, we got to support. We have to watch it.
Because they're going to say we don't, that we
gave
it to you,
we don't want it. So we're going to continue to give you reality TV.
Right.
Which I'm not going to watch it, but,
Here you go.
Becky.
Yeah, some other show. Minority show.
Yeah. So I mean,
not good.
Right. So definitely, we have to support our own if we definitely want to see more of that on television. Real quick, speaking of side chicks, because again we brought up Scandal, Kerry Washington, Mary Jane, and and all that stuff. Ricky Smiley, you heard an older show this morning about a side chick business?
Yesterday morning, there was two women who basically they wanted to. They had a business where they were side chick consultants. So basically, if you were wanting to aspire to be a side chick or a good side chick, then you pay them $500 a week, and they'll teach you how to do that.
$500 a week?
It was something ridiculous.
That's
like that.
crazy.
Right.
That is crazy.
Are they side chicks themselves who have prospered?
Yes, they were. I mean, proud to say that one woman said that she had a child with a married man, and she said that she had insurance for life.
That's so sad.
Which
values.
Right, and that's what I thought. Like, how you're a home wrecker. You understand that you're teaching people how to wreck a home, and surely you can't say that you don't want one day for someone to be just with you. Like, you got to want more for yourself than just to be someone else's side woman. Who wants that? I mean, I don't want to play second to anybody, and I can't imagine that anybody would.
Now, the question is here, like I said, again, I love Being Mary Jane, awesome show, and I love Scandal. Now, do you think that stuff like this is a reflection on our media, or is it the media reflection on our society? It's kind of like the chicken or the egg.
It's the media's reflection on our society. I don't think that we are. It really works both ways, though. I think it's a little bit of the media showing what's going on, but then other people look at it and say, "I want to do that too."
Because it's been going on for a long time.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's been someone and had a mistress for years and years and years and years and years. But now it used to be where it wasn't glorified. If you were dating a married man, you were getting ostracized in the neighborhood. The women were throwing eggs at you. Just crazy stuff.
Letter.
Right, the scarlet letter. It wasn't a good thing. And now it's just kind of like you're just making it seem like it's okay to not be faithful in a relationship. It's okay to cheat. And can you imagine what the men are thinking? And then you wonder why HIV and STD rates are so high. And you wonder because you're teaching that
are just plain old crazy.
Right, because you're saying it's okay to be in a monogamous relationship, but then to really dip out. It's okay. We'll just call it a relationship that we're in. No, you're not.
You are turned up over this, which I love it. It's passion, and it's something that's happening, and it's something that we have to address. So, thank you, ladies, so much for joining me today on Karlton Says Live. It's over. Didn't 30 minutes go by fast? I told you. It's like, bam.
I thought it was an hour.
30 minutes.
Did you feel like you could have gone?
We got to do another special hour episode because we did it once, and
okay.
But we'll do it. We'll bring you back.
Please, I want to be there for the hour.
Thank you guys for joining us for this edition of Karlton Says Live. We'll see you guys next week. Shout out to DJIM Productions. Peace.
Bye, guys.
See ya.